We have a longtime Tesla bull saying that it seems mathematically impossible for Tesla to deliver 20 million vehicles in 2030. Also, Ross Gerber stunned me. Yes, he did it again, although that's a different matter. We'll get to both of these. If I do any more bounces, I think this chair may just break. And maybe my back too. But this is just too exciting because even Tesla stock bulls don't really see the whole picture of Tesla. And so while I am buying Tesla stock, I'm going to tell them, yeah, you're right. This is definitely not a buying opportunity. Definitely not. Please don't buy more. Here's where it all started. Let's dive into this. Farzad said, would a company concerned about demand do this? News, Tesla has submitted the first application for the expansion of Giga Berlin to the State Office for the Environment. Tesla wants to expand production capacity from the current 500,000 to 1 million vehicles per year. And this is it right here. Nobody is arguing Tesla is concerned about demand. Drew and I were trying to get to management's forecast of 20 million units by 2030, which seems mathematically impossible based on the history of the business. We long ago learned to do our own research and not rely on management assertions. I like Gary, but on this, I think he is wrong. Now, the part where I really agree with him is right here. We long ago learned to do our own research and not rely on management assertions. 100% I agree with that. Here's an article from 2014, why projections for Tesla to sell 500,000 vehicles in 2020 are absurd. And indeed, of course, he was right because Tesla did not deliver 500,000 vehicles in 2020, right? And of course, probably Tesla will not deliver 20 million vehicles in 2030, but the question is, by how much will Tesla be off? Maybe just 450 vehicles? Now, I think Tesla will be off by more than that, but I want to get through this first. Saying that it is mathematically impossible, I really don't agree with that. So let's do some math together. Specifically, math based on the history of the business. A financial advisor, I am not, but a math guy? Well, actually, I once placed nationally in the top 20 in the Math Olympics where I was born in Europe, small country, but still. And it was mostly word problems, but I can do numbers too. And let me prove that mathematically, it is certainly, definitely, for sure, 100% without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely, certainly possible. Okay, in 2022, we delivered this many vehicles. Tesla, on average, roughly grew 50% year over year. And so if we just keep that going, which at some point Tesla will grow slower than that, but we are just talking about, is this mathematically possible based on the history of a business? And so in 2023, if we grow 50%, that would be 1.97 million deliveries. In 2024, that would be almost 3 million. In 25, that would be 4.4. In 26, 6.6. In 27, almost 10 million. In 2028, almost 15 million. In 2029, over 20 million. And in 2030, 33.5 million. This is based on the history of a business, if it just keeps growing at 50%. And I really like Gary, by the way. I think he has good perspectives, and if you want to understand how Wall Street thinks and how money managers think that also understand Tesla, Gary is probably the best person to go to. I just think I would never say this is mathematically impossible because it certainly is. Although, will Tesla actually do it? That's a whole different question. And if you look at Tesla's business history, actually, it would be conservative to think that Tesla will only deliver 20 million. Because if I take, let's say, where do you want to start? Let's say with 2013, we're not going to start with 2012 because Tesla was so small still. Let's start with 2013, and we take 22,400, and we just want to know, okay, how many vehicles would Tesla have delivered this year if Tesla only grew 50% each year? Okay, so this is going to be 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Only 861,000? Tesla actually delivered a whole lot more. Tesla was already considered big in 2020. and still it basically doubled in 1 year. Gary also replied to this tweet, which is quite interesting. History of an industry business is now irrelevant. This is a radical disruptive revolution that has no historic analogy of any value except perhaps the poor horse. Everything going forward is going to be wildly different. Cars without drivers is a part of it. I'm not so sure if I would go that far. Gary Black says, when Tesla stock investors start arguing this time is different, there is no historical analogy, no analysis is needed, disruptive revolution has no precedent. I fear irrational exuberance has set in. I, for one, will keep my wits and keep analyzing and questioning as I always have. Right here, I fully agree with Gary. I fear irrational exuberance has set in. We don't want to just accept statements from Tesla's management as an example. I like to question things. I want to know what is the actual truth. I want to see if there's anything that actually makes more sense. I think there have been many changes in our technology that completely revolutionized everything. The printing press, the written word in the first place. I mean, before you just had to memorize everything. Books and being able to write things down, these things changed a lot. When we had the whole industrial revolution, we learned how to fly. That was mind-boggling. When we had the computer revolution as well, I don't think I can say that at all. Definitely not. Gary, if Tesla solves full self-driving and robotaxi becomes a reality, would you say that Tesla has greater than a 20 million unit per year demand? Only if Tesla has a monopoly on robotaxi, for example, no one else masters it. Otherwise, no. I think to get to 20 million, full self-driving is going to be important. And I certainly share this sentiment with Farzad. I'm glad that Gary Black is back on Twitter tweeting again. We may have different opinions, but I certainly respect Gary, and I really like that he is back. Gives us some more perspectives that we can analyze and then double check our own arguments. And Ross Gerber just absolutely, completely stuns me here. I feel like Ross Gerber stuns me once every 2 weeks or so. 10 million would be amazingly successful and maybe actually possible. I am a bit speechless here. Maybe actually possible? No. It's definitely possible. I think it's fair to question how likely it is to happen, but yeah, it's definitely actually possible. Gary continues here, I'm amazed by Tesla stock bulls who don't get the need for realistic expectations. 10 million vehicles for 2030 is ambitious but achievable if EV adoption grows from 10% in 2022 to 60% by 2030. And Tesla grows EV share from 16.4% today to 20% by 2030. 20 million deliveries would require 40% EV share if we assume that EVs will only have 60% by 2030. This is where I would disagree with Gary a little bit. I think EV share is going to be higher than that. But because I'm investing in Tesla stock for at least 10 years, probably closer to 20 years, I'm not that concerned exactly what market share EVs will have in 2030 exactly. I'm just thinking, is everyone going to be transitioning to EVs in the near future? And the answer is obviously yes. Now, is that going to happen in 2030, in 2032, in 2029? Whichever year you pick, 2035, I don't think that really makes that much of a difference. Well, if you are going to keep Tesla stock for less than 10 years, yeah, that does make a difference. But for me, no. And this reply makes a whole lot of sense, actually. If in 2007, I told you that Apple is going to have 85% of the whole worldwide operating profit from smartphones, would you have called me crazy? Probably, yeah. And if you would have said, no, I am not crazy, then you are wildly rich right now. In which case, great for you. I think what Dylan is saying here probably makes the most sense out of everyone. The cheaper vehicle will be very important, and assuming that Tesla does a very good job with it, that will shatter a lot of expectations. And of course, I think Tesla will deliver more than 10 million. I think that's to think it's only going to be 10 million. I think that's quite bearish. But also, as Tesla gets bigger, it is harder to keep growing at 50%. And at some point, that growth will slow. But the question is by how much? The Wall Street consensus is the most ridiculous of all. Wall Street still only thinks that Tesla will deliver 6.455 million vehicles in 2030. I don't think they are really assuming that Tesla will make a compelling cheap vehicle at all. Yeah, it's not even displayed on the terminal here. That vehicle supposedly is never going to exist, perhaps. This was fun, and this is the Tesla stock buying opportunity explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Post. Just like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.